You already know what it is. Your boy DJ Filthy Rich.
Hey, it's your boy DJ Big X.
Welcome back to We Outside Radio. This is the We Outside Show, and we back with another good episode, man. We got the homie NuFace in the building. What's good, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man? How did we get here? NuFace was there at the We Outside show.
Well, you know, I guess this really didn't exist until you came. That's what we say.
Right.
It ain't really happening unless NuFace is here. So now we official, y'all. We Outside Radio is a real thing because NuFace is here.
Yeah, NuFace is here for real. You know, when he shows up, it's official and it's authentic.
Yeah, real hip hop.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, it's truly mutual, man. You know, if I've been there, I've seen both of you guys, and so my respect for you guys is at a top notch. So great to be here and an honor, too, to be amongst you brothers.
Nah, that's love, man. I hit you up because I saw you was like, I mean, you always outside anyway. That's why you perfect for the We Outside show. But it looked like you was going on a little promo run, man. What's going on? You been doing a lot of media lately.
It seems that way, but I read this book by Shonda Rhimes, and it was called The Year of Yes, right? And so, you know, she's the creator of shows like Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, and she's a producer of these shows, but she took a year where she said yes to everything, like, and her life significantly changed, like things that, like, just her life benefited, impacted just from her saying yes. And I took that advice, and so everything that's happened in the past 2 or 3 years is because somebody, rather than hit me online, let's build, let's network, and all this chatter, everything somebody said, let's pull up, do this, give me a time and date, I'm there. Yes, come do this show. Yes, I don't care when. Yes, set it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing, and that goes for not just business, but family, relationships. Yo, you want to go to Great Wolf Lodge with the kid? Yes, set it up. You know,
Word.
You need some Air Force Ones first day of school? Set it up. You know, yes.
Yeah.
So that's where that press run came from. It just, I guess people just want to hear my story, which is good because it is a good story, I think. But you know, that's what happened. Multiple shows hit me up, and shout out to all those guys, man. It's just dope to people that want to hear my story.
So speaking of shows, I see that you have a segment every Thursday with Greg Street now, right?
Yeah, Tales from the A, man. You know, Tales from the A. Shout out to Street, man. He already had this on his segment, and in my head, I'm like, dang, like that's dope because I always had these stories, quick stories. NuFace was there stories anyway, so I text him, and he didn't even. He respond, call me now. Like I'm thinking like to talk about it in the future.
Yeah.
I call like, yo, we on the air with NuFace, and then I'm like, oh shit, you mean like today?
Like right now.
And once again, maybe he's subscribed to that Just Say Yes too, because I did it, and then I listened to the whole show, and then I was like, did I miss it? He's like, no, I'm gonna just save it for next Thursday. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm gonna grab a shout out to Iran. I was like, I'm gonna do a flyer, I'll promote it like it's an event, because to me,
Facts.
like that's history. First of all, like any artist that go on Greg Street, I know the history. If you know the history, that's just solidified. That's part of your legacy. If Greg Street was your journey from Big Boy, from Master P, from E40, if Greg Street kind of stamped you, same with this guy right here. If they stamped you, bro, like in the beginning or any part of your journey, you that one. And so I have this bucket list mentally of things I like to do, and I'm not an artist, but I want to move my legacy like an artist, you know, like the things that they did and follow that type of tradition or blueprint. So to be on V103, and, you know, I did an interview with Tigger, Ryan Cameron, Greg Street. So I had these mental bucket lists to like do every radio station, and I have. And again, I'm not an artist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Again, telling my story,
Right.
And they want to hear it, and it's on the radio. So I'm still able to tell my voice, and who knows where the radio, who's listening to that.
So if you're not an artist, what would you officially call yourself?
I consider myself a fan and just really a supporter of my friends. Like, but I call myself a rap fan. You know,
A rap fan,
and
okay.
a hip hop hoarder.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a great definition of hoarder.
Yeah.
Because like when I seen you online, I was like, yo, my man, he been collecting stuff for a while. Like, yo. And it's funny because when I think I seen you out at was that Too Short show? And I seen you backstage, and you had like
the Mount Westmore show.
Yeah, you had like all the stuff with you, and I was like, yo, I didn't know dude go that deep.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
He's not a game, bro. You forgot a word too. Hip hop historian is a label.
yeah, that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
say. Historian, yeah.
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 Hoarder just make it sound like you just grabbing a bunch of stuff and throwing it in.
And
the
I ran away from historian for probably because other people called me that. And it's in my head, historian always look nerdy, geeky, old, like librarian style. But I'm like, shit, I'm NuFace, so let me put a new face on what historian looks like.
Yeah.
And then I seen people giving that stamp to other people, and I'm like, they call that a historian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Let me claim this.
Yeah.
So at least I can show you some authenticity. Like this is what I think a historian look like in my eyes. And then people, and I came up with the NuFace was there, but the people in the public came up with like, oh, it's official now. It ain't happening. Like, and that's something that happened organic. And with my relationship, I love when things happen organic. Again, like an artist, things that happen organic is gonna be part of your legacy. So again, that's what that was about.
And it's funny you say historian because a lot of times, and I know you probably agree with me too. I see a lot of these cats that they say are hip hop historians, and you go, what? What? He ain't even talking. He ain't even speaking facts.
Yeah.
So and for me to see you, and I always see you out. Like I know we run into each other a lot now, but I was like, yo, like my man, he really knows the history. You know what I'm saying? I think one night I ran into you, and you was like, yo, I'm doing my research on you too. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, man. That's what it is. It's again, support my friends. Like all the time I come to, New Music Mondays, it's not because I have a artist that I need y'all to listen to or I got a movement I need y'all to support. I'm here because I want my ear to the street. And I've seen artists come here and I've shown you, and 10 years later, but I have that footage from back then.
Word.
Now, so why would I stop that? Because I want to be a part of the next best thing. So when a Glorilla comes in here, I'm gonna come here, or somebody new come here. When Little Baby come here, or when the Migos did y'all show
The anniversary,
and Little Baby's on just against the wall, like I'm just here, like not as an artist, but I'm just soaking it up. I have that moment, and Lucci's like I have those moments, and I love seeing people's evolution. So that's why I'm gonna continue to do that.
It's funny you say that because I remember that year when the Migos did the show in
Old National.
and Lil Baby was playing in the background. And that was maybe a year before P even brought him to us and was like, yo, this is gonna be my new guy right here. I need y'all to help me do this. And it's crazy because now when I think back on it, I do remember him being like a little dude, like a little flower on the wall. You know what I mean? Just waiting his turn.
And because I didn't know, but as I'm showing footage from, because YG was there, Future came. So I'm looking at them, crazy. And then I'm looking just in the crowd. I'm like, wait, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? Like even just 2 Chainz did a birthday party 3 years ago, Friday the 13th, theme, everybody with Jason masks, but it was a white kid walking up to him. They was shaking his hand. KY was with him. I know KY, but 4 years later, this is Jack Harlow. But no, I didn't. I mean, he literally walked by me, and who knew he would become who he was? But I do have that moment where Diddy dapped him up, and KY is introducing him, and that, like those type of memories. I love to see that type of thing,
Yeah, and it's dope too to me because you got to think people on the inside, right? A lot of people are not documenting their own journey. So I think that's the value that you bring to some artists too. It's like, okay, Jack remembers being there, but I'm sure he wasn't running around with a camera or like you having that footage of Lil Baby. Lil Baby wasn't thinking about recording that. You know what I'm saying? So
not that moment anyway.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So to have that, like, even me, I think that was my first time hosting an anniversary concert.
Wow.
And he showed it to me, and I'm like, oh, damn, yeah, all right.
Rick Ross came in there with a fur coat. Like, this is not, like, NuFace was there. Like, those memories, and that's what I call nostalgia. That's what that means to me, like, that feeling. Like, every time I see Ross, I can remember that moment of Baby J with Future coming in. Like, if I see Baby J, I'm like, oh, somebody coming. Like, just because I know our relationship, and me and Baby J go way back. So I'm like, if I see her walking, 5 minutes later, I don't know who, but somebody, let me get my phone out when she come back in that door. And that's just moments like that I'm always going to speak highly of. And again, like you said, the artists, sometimes they don't be having that moment, like you said, and they be like, dang, like, I don't even remember that.
Yes.
Like when Crit did 85 South Show, he was like, bro, those years were a blur. Like, so to look at freshman cover, to look at this in my first photo shoot, like they'll remember things like this was my first. And I'm like, I just subscribed to the magazine. I didn't personally know you, but luckily if I've attached myself with the right artists that are real and they kind of do that.
Do you have like some type of organization in the crib, or is it like a method to your madness where you just know, like, all right, like Too Short gonna be here tonight, so let me go to my Too Short section, or do you just, like you have it organized now?
Yeah, well,
it's got to be organization to the madness. There's no way you can have that type of.
There's chaos, but there's organized chaos.
Right. It wouldn't be organized to us, but you know where everything is at.
Yeah, because I mean, it's set up by magazines is in one room. I got vinyl right here, video games here, but I have this one room that's just like toys, books, cassettes, and CDs. just in that room. And then and how I do it, CDs is order of my favorites. So, and then cassettes is West Coast on this side, East Coast on this side, Masterpiece, No Limit, Rap a Lot, Women, and then over here is East Coast, Midwest, mixtapes, because I used to make like physical mixtapes.
Yeah. So, and you from Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So being from Detroit, then you really were exposed to everything. Because I know, like I'm from Jersey, right? So I was very late on Southern music. We just weren't exposed to it. You know what I mean? Like if it didn't come on Rap City, we didn't really have a lot of Uncle Luke. It wasn't playing out there. If I didn't see the video, like I used to think the birthday video was the illest thing ever because I was like, oh, look at all these girls.
Right.
But we didn't have nothing like that. So I know, like my wife is from Chicago and her brothers, and they always say like being in the Midwest, you get exposed to everything. So y'all really get everything first. And we were kind of sheltered from a lot of music.
Detroit was kind of like Atlanta too. You know what I'm saying? Like Atlanta, before we really got the boom as far as like everybody here being a rapper, we listened to everything. Like we played everything from West Coast to East Coast, the Midwest, everything I played. So Detroit was kind of like, even when you listen to like Dayton Boys and those type of, you could tell they had some Southern influence too. You know what I'm saying?
Because I was influenced by it from Rap City, Yo MTV Raps, but again, I was buying those magazines. But our cassette places would have, like, again, West Coast artists that people weren't big on. Like, so if I see an E40 in the click, but I was only buying it because of the album covers. I was an artist at that time. So if the album cover looked dope where I can draw it, so if I seen Too Shorts in the House, a Doggy Style cover, like covers, I'm buying it, and it was dope. Or Sibo, like, so I was buying Bust Down. I was buying cassettes just off the art, but then I got it, and then I'm riding around and I'm amongst street people that got Cutlasses and Monte Carlos and two subwoofers in their trunk. And which tape you buy today, Larry? I was Larry then. I wasn't even NuFace. It was because they knew every Tuesday I was buying the latest everything. You know what I'm saying? I had a job. I had money to spare. I was hustling, so I was buying anything.
Hold up, bro. You just brought up something that people don't get to experience now. This whole generation, I kind of feel sorry for them. Tuesdays, bro. Do you remember how important, like how you would be hyped on a Tuesday? I remember personally, like high school, junior high, Tuesday, right after school, I couldn't wait to take my money and walk to the record store and go buy some records and some tapes, man.
And it got to the point where it was actually Monday. Some stores would let you slide for a little extra.
If
or
they
if
knew
I
you.
knew on Monday at midnight, or Monday, it come in at midnight, I got you. Like, so it was some of them where I was getting it early, but again, Tuesday, because when I got to Atlanta, it was a big thing for album release parties, or not parties, but album release signings. So I remember being at Tower Records at Lenox Mall. Every Tuesday, a Jermaine Dupri would do in 1472. So that means he would come, but he would bring the Brat and Crisscross, and I would just wait in line. Every one of those that T.I. did at Best Buy or at Crucial, I would show up. It'd be on a Tuesday, and Atlanta was dope for that, and Detroit would do that, but we just didn't get the stars. So I knew the stars. The biggest stars was Luke, Too Short, and Esham, and I got to see Royce and Eminem freestyle at the hip hop shop.
Oh, that's legendary. That's hard. All right, so look, man, we in the building with NuFace. We outside radio. We gonna get into pay some bills. We gonna play some music, and we gonna come back with the hip hop historian. You already know what it is. Your boy DJ Filthy Rich.
Yeah, it's your boy DJ Big X.
Welcome back to the We Outside show. We got NuFace in the building. What's good, brother?
NuFace was there. It's officially happened, right?
It's happening right now,
We
man.
outside.
The We Outside show. We official.
He's the king of being outside. Nobody is more outside than NuFace.
Man, he's like the hidden gem of Atlanta. Like I'm telling you, man, NuFace will hit like 4 or 5 spots on a night, and he's like in and out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see him, but you don't see him.
Right. You know what too? What I think a lot of artists, if they're really paying attention, I think you really are the blueprint of how an artist should be working their self too. You know what I'm saying? Like all the advice that we give artists at New Music Monday or whenever we just doing consultations, whatever, you do everything that we telling them to do. You stay in everybody's face. You have hashtags. You have a theme. You take pictures with people. You engage with people. You make sure that they remember you. These are all the things that an artist should be doing. Like really, all the artists out there, if you don't know what you're doing, how to break your record to get popping, to get known in the city, Just follow the NuFace blueprint, bro.
But NuFace, if you ever do a record, man, I want to manage you. Your work ethic
It's impeccable.
It's unmatched.
That's one of those things where I need that big X stamp, so I'm ready, man. You know what I'm saying? And again, like you said, I take the advice from when you guys give artists advice from the performances, from the interaction, from how they interact with DJs. I take mental notes of that, and like now to the point where I have been consulting certain artists, you know what I'm saying, and people reach out for me for advice. So I'm able to flip like my passion for learning into a profit that can benefit another artist's career. Like, you know what I'm saying, I brought my friend Junior Mack from New Orleans to do that. And I was already coming to Coalition New Music Mondays, but I'm like, if this what you want to do, let me bring you up here. And I didn't reach out to none of y'all, like, you know what I'm saying, on some, I need to, or is it free? Like, nothing. No, I want to do everything how it's supposed to be. And I want him to see that whole thing and interact with that, and how he does that, that's on him. You know what I'm saying? And it went well, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's following the blueprint.
And it's big for you to say that too, man. You said I wanted it to go exactly the way it's supposed to go. So that means you was willing to pay whatever fee it was and just make it happen.
Yeah.
A lot of artists don't like paying that fee. They don't like paying for the things that it take to make them get on. What do you feel about like artists right now like that don't feel like, okay, everything should be free. The DJ should be playing this for me. I should have a manager that's working for me and making things happen for me. How do you think where we at now opposed to where we were years ago when managers were at the forefront of really setting the tone for the artists and that kind of thing? Now it's kind of like managers and labels, everybody kind of just check in when it's hot.
One thing that I notice in any business deals that anybody gets signed,
Go ahead.
if anybody gets signed, that the relationship or the person with the bigger check is always want to see if the person invested in themselves first and created value within themselves first. Because what I look like if I didn't create value in myself, going to somebody else saying I need this amount of money, if I'm not willing to do it myself, a lot of people waiting for the money to come first, then do the work. I've seen it work that way, and it doesn't last long. So I was willing to take, and I tell a lot of artists, take the longer route, build the relationships, build the value. So when you do get these interactions with this label or the manager, or like, you know, you want to sign with Big X, then you can say, well, this is what I did for myself first. Here's my following, here's my pages, here's my website, here's how many shirts I sold, this is how many radio shows I've been on, this is how many podcasts I've been on, and I've been able to do myself. So imagine what you can do for me and how we can work together. To like when T.I. went to Atlantic, it wasn't I want to be an artist on Atlantic. It was like, no, I want a joint venture deal. We are partners.
Right.
And that's how I want to create value in any relationship I work with. But I tell artists, do that, create the value and invest in yourself first so other people see the value and want to be a part of you.
Because basically what you just said, we're painting a picture.
Yeah.
So as long as you, and it's like I used to hate this, and it's when I was young because I didn't understand how the music business kind of went, and now I'm seeing it full circle. When I used to take the backwoods up to MTV, the first thing they used to say was, hey man, you got to build a story. You got to have a story behind these guys. What's the story? And I was like, the story? Man, they got some fire music. That's the story. They was like, nah, man, it's got to be something to these guys that's going to make people, gravitate to them. So now when I look at it, now I'm looking at all these rappers that's they got bodies
Brand
in the streets, they got brand endorsements, they got a lot of different things going on, but at the same time, this is a part of their story. Mm-hmm. And now that is important for artists. Like when you go, like even now we're talking about what's my man, PNB Rock. He had a story,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But at the same time, on his way to his success, he had a real story that he could stand on. And he could say,
real relationships, though. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, in building that story, you got to build relationships. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think one of the best things he had going for him, and a lot of artists have going for them, a lot of the artists that have succeeded, was that they did want to network. You know what I'm saying? They network. And I hate to say that your network is your net worth.
But it is, though.
It is. I'm a walking example of that. And shout out to, I'm on an album called Social Currency. Shout out to Trans Lee. That's the name of his album. But I'm featured on that because that's what I live. Like, you know what I'm saying? I haven't bought clothes in 5 years, from brands saying
right.
You wear, they know I don't know what their reason is. That's
because they know you're going to wear it, bro.
They know I'm going to wear it, and it might be with a picture with Killer Mike or the mayor or whatever, but I haven't bought clothing for 5 years. I'm really living off the land, and I'm an example of social currency, so I know it works.
So, but and in that respect, you are a new age, outside of being a historian, you are a social influencer.
or a brand. Yeah.
Ooh, we ain't even think about that. That's exactly what you are too, bro.
Yeah, man, you're a social influencer because if I'm gonna give you a Big X shirt and you're gonna wear it and I know people gonna see it and it's gonna generate some attention, then you just influence those people to either want to buy one or either want to wear one. You know what I'm saying?
And I get results. Like, I wear a brand, and shout out to 72 Freckles. Like, in the next week, Tip is wearing it on stage. Jeezy's wearing it, MLK, so
Right.
these artists, so it's a win-win. I'm getting clothes. I don't have to worry about buying it. They get a great look, and it's being sold. So it's
Right.
they getting the money, and I'm just a middleman, and I'm just a vessel for another black business.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to get some of the percentages though.
Yeah, lock in.
Yeah.
Hey, we ready.
Look, speaking of locking in, we're gonna get into some music. We're gonna come right back. R.I.P. PNB Rock. Let's get into some of his music, man, and we'll be right back. We Outside Radio.
For sure.
Yes, sir. We back on the We Outside show. It's your boy DJ Filthy Rich.
Yeah, it's your boy DJ Big X.
And NuFace is in the building.
Yeah, NuFace, man. We see you brought out a bunch of I don't want to say what would we call this?
Memorabilia.
Memorabilia.
That word too big for me to
My
say.
word is nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia. That's what I was trying to say. Nostalgia.
Oh, so I see a lot of Tupac stuff. So today is the 26th
You
anniversary.
see where I'm going with
I
this.
see you, bro. I'm with you, man.
And
You got a lot of copies of the greatest hits I see too.
and September 13th, 93, Ready to Die came out.
Facts.
So
How about that? Shout out to Big, shout out to Pac, the legends. So we have a video portion of the show and a radio portion. So for the radio people that's out there who can't see, he has the Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die Funko Pop, which is mimics the first album cover, which is crazy with the baby on it. We got stacks and stacks of Tupac cassette tapes
the
in
whole
here.
discography.
And he got some Too Short stuff over here too.
Oh, we got one time.
Yeah.
You know what Too Short's favorite word is?
Say it.
So the crazy thing about this, right? That particular toy, I did a party years ago when he released that album here in Atlanta at Jazzy T.
X was there?
X
So
was there.
I was there.
X
you know what
was
I'm saying?
there.
And I actually did some songs on that album, so that was crazy.
Man.
I produced on Too Short albums from like 96 to like 2001, so.
I read the credits. I know.
Spearhead X is in there.
You own a couple credits. I've seen it.
Oh yeah, that was my producer days. Yeah. But I had to ask you because you from Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being that I did work with Too Short and during that time I got an opportunity to work with Breed, and Breed is from Flint, but he's also considered like a Detroit native.
That's hometown.
You know
hero.
what I'm saying? So give me a fun memory of like Breed.
Well, not him personally, but just the impact of that song.
Right.
When that song came out, I just remember and I was a young kid just in the club, and from radio, the impact, but the thing, and then it was the group. It was, DFC.
Yeah.
When it was that part, because it was Flint, so we were kind of hesitant. Like, is he claiming that? We ain't know. But then when I seen real Detroit people was part of the clique and all that, and the radios jumped behind them. So it was that. But when he did the song Things in My Hood Ain't Changed, because this was DFC featuring MC8. And MC8 at that time was a
Big.
god to me.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, Bree, and I seen the play. I seen Bree got the attention. He hooked his boys up. That's the blueprint with every artist, right? And then he connected with the West Coast. And then Warren G did the producing. I'm like, oh, this.
Yeah, it all made sense.
It made sense. And Too Short was Too Short, and E40 was somebody that I always would see in Detroit. And Luke. Those are three people. Those are the only artists I've seen besides Detroit artists that were always just there on regular. I stayed in Herman Garden Project. Too Short signed an artist out of there, Joe Rios, that was out of my
that's
project.
my boy, Bad Ways.
Yeah, badass ways, man.
Who did that?
So
You did that too? Go
You
ahead.
do know that.
X, let's go,
Hey,
baby.
man, now we getting closer to it, man.
See, I'm not gonna say I created that group, but that group was created from my song I did on Too Short's album number 10, which was called Bad Ways.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
And
Spearhead X in the building. I love it.
that
yo.
shit, man. Yeah. But for that, because before Atlanta, we didn't see people make it. So again, like how MCA was a guide to me, Short was a guide to me. So somebody in my projects that I just knew personally signed to it, and it's going. You see the pages in the XXL and the Source, and people writing about it. It made me start writing. Used to do music reviews in the Source magazine.
Wow.
And the first one I did was Cain and Abel featuring Webby, Shake It Like a Dog. If you look up that article, I wrote that and went up to New York and got my check from the Source offices with my daughter.
From Dave Mays?
From Gotti, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, bro. Now I just learned something about you. I didn't know you did that.
Me neither. I just was like, shit. They did it. I sent it, and they were like, you get a check, and I went up there and got it myself because I wanted to just say I was in a Source office.
Of course, getting a check.
Yeah, getting a check for listen to a song over and over, and I just write what I did about it. And I did that for a couple of them. I did some ghost ones, but.
So before we get you out of here, and I know we've been talking about a lot of nostalgic stuff, and we've been going back. So I got to ask you about current hip hop. Where do you see the state of hip hop right now? With you being a historian and you seeing it, and I asked KRS this a few weeks ago. It's 50 years old.
Yeah.
How do you feel about hip hop right now in the state of hip hop?
I'm actually proud of it, and again, it's still the youngest genre, and it's also the most famous genre.
Right.
I do see some changes in the quality of it, and I'm seeing it even from the fan perspective where we question it, because now before it was for the love of it. I remember back in the day, the street niggas didn't want to be a rapper because they didn't make any money. Now it's totally converted to I'm only in this for the money, and I'm not a rapper. And it's just kind of these things changed to where it went from a genuine love for the sport to now it's a money play and it's a money grab, and they'll get what they get for them careers for that, but for the people who love it and stand for the grind, they still here, they still consistent, and that's the kind of legacy of the brands that I like to support. New and old. But.
So I got to ask you this too, since we're just talking about it, and we have been talking about the nostalgia of hip hop. So is it really hip hop now? Do we still call it hip hop even though we don't have the 4 elements there no more?
I do personally. I do personally because it's like a baby and it's like a tree and it's maybe a tree has branches and it starts from the roots.
So we're offspring. We're offspring in that.
All these things are offspring because my children put me on to like Lotto. Would I ride around listen to Lotto? Maybe not, but my daughters do, and I'm in the house with them. And,
right.
And if I go to a Lotto show, it's because I have my daughter, and she put me on. And if she meets my daughter and she's solid with my daughter, I'm gonna respect her forever because how she treated me in real life. So, and maybe I'm not a music fan of that, but I love how that person is in real life, and that's how most of my relationships are with artists.
Because you got a lot of purists that's into hip hop now. You know a lot of these cats.
Yeah.
They'll say, well, hip hop isn't hip hop what it used to be because we don't have breakdancing. There's no MCing. There's no graph. But you do have MCing and DJing. You just don't see as much as the grafting and the breakdancing. So that is 2 major elements of that created the culture. You get what I'm saying? So if you take those 2 parts of the culture away, and you only leave 2, so. Is it as strong as a culture as it was 20 years ago?
I think it evolves, though. I think it evolves because you got to think like, all right, so breakdancer, right? Maybe they don't breakdance, but the Jabberwockies is probably the biggest dancing group in the world, and they do breakdance. And then you got all these kids doing TikTok. They not breakdancing, but they are dancing. So,
but
it's just evolution.
But in a nutshell, breakdancing didn't go away. It just went overseas.
Yeah.
That too. They love us overseas.
But somebody like Duke Deuce, right?
Right.
Comes out not crunk no more, and you seen him in the studio dancing. That's nostalgic of that vibe. He's again, it's not the cardboard breakdancing, but that's what you're gonna get in 2023.
Yeah, that's how they turn up.
I mean, that's their thing. So it's their version of it. I don't expect them to do that because that's not how they were raised. You know what I'm saying? So it's their branch. And maybe I may not be my favorite flower, but I'm gonna support that tree regardless.
So now go ahead.
Yeah, I got one. One thing that you do that we spoke about. So we did have KRS-One on the show. Ooh, and
dang,
that's a bar. We do. So when we were talking to him, and even before he came on the show, X and I and Smooth, we were talking about how hip hop is the only genre of music where the older people get, the less respect they get from the younger generations. That's another thing that I think is very dope about you is you really pay homage to the elders. Like we don't treat them like old and has-beens, because they really are legends, and we're supposed to treat them as such. So that's something that I noticed that you focus on too.
Oh yeah, I'm highly, because that's gonna be probably the majority of my collection, because that's where I started from. And I'm a creative, so I used to make shirts and stuff. So I was listening to their music nonstop while creating or hustling or riding around driving cars in Detroit, because we're a car driving city. So that's all I know was their music. So to meet my heroes and they know what I've done, like to be interviewed by Bun B and for him to know me personally, a big boy, for them to know what I do, or Rick Ross to say, man, if NuFace was here, man, he did, like, and I'm in my, it's just an out of body experience, because that wasn't what I did it for, but that's an extension. It's great. It's the cherry on top, because you want to be acknowledged for doing something great, and that's what my only purpose was, to give these people my flowers from them.
And you said something big. You said most of the stuff that you got saved, and most of your memories and some memorabilia that you do have, it comes from a lot of artists from back in the day. Do you get a lot of product now from the newer artists?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at this table right here, this is Pusha T's latest album, The Purple Tape.
Oh wow!
But it's still a cassette, so
Okay.
I'll still do something like that, like Nipsey, R.I.P. Nipsey. This is a Nipsey Hussle Victory Lap cassette.
Okay.
That's signed by him. Like, you're not gonna get a lot of people that have the cassette, but nobody has one that's autographed.
Right.
Nobody.
That's worth money.
this
You shouldn't
is-
be carrying that around.
This is, I'm just letting you know what I'm saying? Or somebody may have a trap music cassette tape, but theirs is not signed by DJ Toomp, David Banner, and Jazzy Faye, and T.I.
Oh wow!
crazy.
So
should be
there-
carrying
you know,
that around.
Yeah.
So you may have a purple tape. You may have a Raekwon tape, but do you have the purple tape that's signed by Raekwon and Ghostface? See, there's
No, we don't.
collectors and there's me.
No, we don't. I
Fact.
got that same tape, but it's not signed.
See, so
So there's levels to this.
it's levels to this.
Levels,
you know?
okay.
And so that's just the difference. And yeah, most of my stuff, but I do buy new and old, you know.
So real quick, because we about to get you out of here, and I gotta ask you, because we talked about all the good, now we got to talk about the bad, the violence in hip hop.
Hate it.
Do you think like where the violence is it really deteriorating hip hop to where we're either losing, or we gaining fans, or we losing fans?
We're losing fans musically and in real life, because these children really absorb it different. Like my mother would come into my room and hear a Too Short tape, and she wasn't worried, or a 2 Live Crew tape, and she wasn't worried. But it's some of this music, if my children were listening to,
Right.
I would probably have to stop and have a conversation about what they're listening to. And I do that, like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the music now is conversation worthy.
Yes.
Yes.
And even on the radio, you know what I'm saying? It's some stuff, because I'll be pumping gas 6 in the morning, you in your head thinking it's safe, and you go and get back in the car, and you're like, what the
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So in that aspect, yeah, it's especially the violence, because these children take it more literal, and because it's a visual thing. Now it's on social media, so they see even videos with sticks, you know, and all that, and ops and making nosebleed. They look up these terms, and so they talking and they emulating
Right.
exactly what they see, and then they get a situation. All they don't know about the OGs about fighting it out, having a square one-on-one. It's on sight when I see you, blood, you know, and then we losing lives.
Right.
I hate that, bro.
And we grew up on gangster rap, but it still wasn't the same.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was crazy because I seen a video on Instagram the other day, and I seen the young guys, they was graduating from high school, and they was graduating with switches. Like they was proud that they had switches at graduation under their gowns.
Yeah, man.
So it's like it's a totally different culture. From I know when I graduated, and I was just saying this today. I said when I graduated from high school, I was just worried about life.
Yeah.
I was worried about what was ahead of me. What was life gonna be 5-10 years from now for me?
Cause I was listening. I mean, I was listening to fucking Gangsta Nip and Bushwick and Eminem, who hated his mother. My mother's still in my, like, I have a close relationship. You know, 2 Live Crew, and I have 4 daughters, and you know, and the women that I've been with, I don't have that relationship where it's like fuck a bitch, and you know,
You could separate the entertainment.
But
from
yeah,
real
but it's
life.
crazy for me though, because like when I came out of high school, I came out right during the era where we were wearing the medallion, the black medallions.
We need to bring that back.
You know what I'm saying?
X-Clan,
Yeah,
The
X-Clan,
red, the black, and the green.
with
You
the
see-
keys. Van Glorious.
Yeah.
Sir.
So you know, those were my days. Like and
Poor
those-
righteous teacher.
Yeah, but they were eye-opening days because, and I say this because I learned a lot of Black history through those records. I went and did a lot of research from those records. I learned who a Marcus Garvey was. I learned who a Stephen Biko was. I learned who a lot of these people that really made impact.
KRS-One made me do that.
Right.
By
You know,
all means necessary.
with edutainment. You had edutainment, you had Sex, Money, and Drugs. All those records like that kind of molded us into going to study and getting into research.
I have a question for you, and I think you relate. And I kind of ask this question every 5 years to my fans, but there was a song called Self-Destruction back in the day. Do you remember?
We was talking about this.
See? And
Ask the question, bro. We are a bunch of like-minded people at this table.
So my question is like, I think it's time for one, and I always ask, okay, who would be the producer and who would be the relevant rappers that would be a part of it? So I would,
and it's crazy for me right now. I would probably say I wouldn't be sure on who the producer is because I like so many different producers. Because if I say I use Drummer Boy, then 808 will get mad at me.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? I can't really say. But as far as rappers, I think the Self-Destruction rapper should be a combination of everybody: West Coast, East Coast, Chicago.
Well, you remember there was Self-Destruction, there was
All in the same
game, which is the West
Coast version.
But you're saying do it all together.
Yeah, because at the same time, is like back then it was kind of a West Coast had gang violence. Yeah. East Coast kind of was like a hustle. They were still hustling, kind of stuff.
It was more crack.
Because MC Light was leave the guns and the knives alone, but over here they was like, no.
They was busting. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's why I say now that violence is everywhere in the Black community. It isn't a West Coast thing. It isn't an East Coast thing. Right. It's a every coast thing. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere has violence, and it's Black violence. It's like the post I put up this morning about with Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're killing each other. So how can we have a call for action when it's against us?
Yeah. Who do we protest?
Right.
Where do we walk for, when we killing each other?
Yeah. So and that's a thing, man, that we need to start looking at. And that's why I say it's very important that we change the narrative. I said this the other day, man, when I was looking at Instagram. I said, yo, it's crazy how now they're paying us to repost our ignorance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Well, the algorithm is against us.
Like Killer Mike says, we are advertisements for agony and pain.
Right. So, and you got to look at that. Like most of the stuff that we're putting up is just like, and I did it on my page just to see. I said, hey, I'm going to post 5 things that's positive.
Oh, me and Greg Street do that all the time.
And I'm going to post 5 things that's negative. And every time, you know what win on?
Negativity.
The negativity. The negativity win every time. I always get 10, 20,000 views opposed to when I put a message up there and something we need to be hearing. Like today I had the young lady that was talking about currency in America and just around the world and how it's changing. Nobody listened to it. Nobody had no care in the world for what she was saying. Yeah. But everything she said is relevant and it's happening right now in our face. And when it happens, we are the people that shop.
But the thing that gets me about it is while it doesn't get reactions, it gets real life interactions with me. So when people see me on the street, they'll acknowledge those type of posts. But again, the views is totally separate. Right. So if I say DJ Drama Gangsta Grills came out today, or Monica album came out today, or DOC's album came out today, it may not get a lot of likes, but that artist will be in my DM saying, damn, I forgot. Or, oh, dang, I'm going to post that on my page. And then they end up posting it. And it's like, that's what I'm here for. I'm not even here for the, people be like, you should have the blue check. I'm like, blue check, I can't go in Georgia Power with this. It won't get me in nowhere. I'm good in real life, but I get it. But they think that that's the thing. But I've been an OG before IG. I've been doing this collecting before all this. So,
if one more person tell me I need a blue check, I'm going to slap him. I'm like, I don't care about that check, bro.
They almost got me one time. I was like, I think I'm going to get the blue check.
Not for what?
And then I started dealing with them. They was like, but I was like, I thought it didn't cost anything.
Oh, it costs. Everything costs. Everything costs.
So that killed that. When I found out it cost money, that killed the blue check. I was like, I don't need it. So
wait, so before you leave, though, you did have a dope question. I would like some answers. So if they made the record right now, like a new Self-Destruction, name some
4
people.
artists that you would like to hear on a message similar to Self-Destruction. Who would be your man?
If it had to be from the South, I got to say Killer Mike.
Mm-hmm. We on the same with that.
I would say Crit.
Mm-hmm.
From the West Coast, man, that's kind of hard because I don't really know a lot of West. I mean, the hottest cat I'm messing with right now is Larry June, but I don't think he would fit. He wouldn't fit that. You know what I'm saying? Who could we put from the West Coast?
Kendrick.
So they have to be
Kendrick.
South?
Kendrick.
You got to do Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick would be from the West Coast. Chicago would be probably Dirk.
Yeah.
He got a lot of cleaning up to do if he gonna hop on that record though. But they'll listen to him though.
Because it's like when 21 gave that message about killing the internet was like, nigga, you?
Right.
You telling us?
Yeah, it's a mixed message there. But
And
if
then-
he's going in that direction, that's good.
And then if I was to do New York, East Coast, I probably would go Mano. And I'm just saying that because he has a story. You know what I'm saying? He comes from
Similar
the
to
streets.
that, yeah.
So and people, and this is what I always tell people: you have to get people that street people will relate to.
Yep.
You can't get somebody that they're not going to relate to. It's a few New York cats and Philly cats that I would go, but just off the top of the head, they're just not coming to me.
I'm gonna
about
pick.
you.
I'm gonna pick Meek Mill.
Right,
he
Meek
been-
Mill.
he's-
Because he's been through some stuff and he
been
got something to
through
say.
it. Exactly. I'm gonna go J. Cole because he knows how to communicate that message very well.
Okay.
I guess Kendrick's too easy, so I'm gonna try to pick people you don't pick. Killer Mike was my first pick though.
Right. Yeah.
Let's do. I would do Little Baby because once he made that, I think that ended
yeah,
up
that
being
one
his
record, yeah.
biggest record too.
And
bro.
what record was that?
The change when he was
yeah, the one
Right
he made
after
during
riots.
the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Lil Baby, I got Meek, I got Cole, and I get one more.
we gotta have a female in my perspective, or maybe not. Is there a woman like Rhapsody in my head?
Yeah, Rhapsody.
It would have to be
It'd
Rhapsody.
Yeah.
There's no
It had to
question.
be Rhapsody,
There's-
without
yeah.
a doubt. Yeah.
No question.
But it's somebody
Damn, that's
from the
it.
West Coast we missing too, female.
A female from the West Coast?
I'm trying to think.
I don't know any female
Not
MCs.
new.
I don't know.
But Rhapsody would definitely be on the list.
Yeah, she's gonna body that. She's
And
gonna,
if y'all know anybody, tap in the NuFace, tag us, man. If y'all got any
Yeah,
ideas.
and let's try to make that a reality.
But I had
Actually-
David Banner producing my version. David Banner or Just Blaze, Killer Mike, Big Crit, and I had Kendrick, and I had Cube or somebody else from the West Coast, and Kendrick.
So let's do this. Let's do a call to action since we always talking and there's no call to action.
Right.
I challenge all the artists out there. Let's get this record done. So tag NuFace, tag We Outside Radio, tag DJ Big X, or tag DJ Filthy Rich, and let's make this record happen.
We can have different versions, man.
That's
we
dope.
can have East Side, West Side, you know what I'm saying? Because we lost too many, man. Shout out to School, shout out to P&B. Like, everybody we just lost, and this kind of needs to stop. And we always just posting about it, posting our pictures with them. We was just with them last night, posting a text message. Then we go back to normal life, to Kim Kardashian and Kanye West shit. And then the next nigga die and we up in rage. But when the cops do something,
Facts.
we out here, we outside, and we got so much to say. So this is the only way I can talk to through music and through action. So if this can happen, that'd be,
So let's do it. I'm gonna set it out right now because we're gonna use
Let's
this
make that a
platform.
challenge.
We
Let's
have a
make it a
plot.
challenge, yeah.
So the self-destruction challenge, hashtag self-destruction 2022. I want y'all to pick your favorite MCs that y'all think should be on this record. Tag them, tag us, and we the Coalition DJs. So we're gonna make sure this record get done.
That's right.
Let's do that.
go.
Let's do it for the culture, man. Shout out to NuFace. We appreciate you coming through. It was a pleasure, bro. We Outside show, and we're going to pay some bills. We out of here. We'll see y'all next time.